Do you feel like giving up? Does it feel like you heal one thing just for another thing to pop up? Does it feel like a never-ending cycle of healings? The thing is, we're not just healing the trauma from this life, we're healing from past lives as well, and we're healing generational trauma. So the thing is, we're not just doing it for ourselves, we're doing it for the next generation. So that might make it a little bit easier, knowing that we have something bigger to heal for. My name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach. I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse, and I also offer twin flame and spiritual guidance. It's tough. We're going up this mountain, and the mountain seems to be never ending. We're falling, we're cutting our knees, we're fucking bruised and bleeding. We heal one thing and we're like, oh, relief. And then there's another thing crops up. It seems like we're doing more than we should be. And this is it. The thing is, we do heal in layers. So even if we're healing one thing, we're healing that in layers. Like when I talk about generational trauma, we're not just healing ourselves. We're healing our lineage. You know what I mean? Our parents suffered, and their parents suffered, and so on and so on and so on and so on. But they suffered worse than we did. And I'm not downplaying what we suffered. We suffered as well. But it's our responsibility to break that cycle. Our parents didn't have the means to do that. Our grandparents didn't have the means to do that. But we do. And I think that's the one thing that keeps me going, is the fact that I'm not just healing. Like, I know what it's like. You know, especially right when we're doing spiritual awakening, or when we're doing spiritual awakening, it's like a hobby. It's not a hobby. Spiritual awakening is actually waking up to your true self. It's the truth that's within you. The truth of why you're on this planet. The truth of why we're here and why we're healing. So when you're going through a spiritual awakening, it can be difficult. Like when we go through the dark night of the soul, and the dark night of the soul is like a deep spiritual depression, and we all know what depression feels like. It's that, it's the give up energy. It's like, what is it all for? What the fuck am I even here for? What's the fucking point? And that's effectively it. And when you're healing over and over and over and over and over again, and it feels like there's no end to it, it's kind of like the energy of, I don't really want to, I couldn't be arsed. I don't want to do this again. I don't want to suffer again. And this is hard. You know what I mean? Healing is difficult, but healing is so enlightening at the same time. Like, one thing I do know is that healing is easier than suffering. And I know we have to face our demons in order to heal, but we face them to release them. But if we don't heal, we're literally bottling up the demons within us, the trauma within us. We're locking that in and we're suffering. And you can see this, like, you know, for example, you know, as you start to awaken and start to grow, you'll start to notice people around you who aren't in their healing, and they're suffering. They're really, really suffering. And you were once like that as well. And you have to remember or feel or know, you do know that you can't go back to the suffering. Like, healing is less painful than suffering. Healing is painful, but it's less painful than suffering. And for me personally, you know, well, I think a lot of us, we can find it very easy to give up because we're doing it for ourselves. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what's the point? I don't matter anyway. I'm not worthy, which is another wound we have to heal. And we kind of just, we like, what I'm kind of describing here is really, so I'm suffering from normal anxiety and depression. Prior to my spiritual awakening, there was the energy of, I can't heal. This is the way I am. And I remember getting recommended a book by a psychiatrist back when I was about 19 or 20, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. I started reading it, and it was more or less downplaying what I was feeling. And I was like, fuck this. And I threw the book to the side, and I didn't read it again for 10 years. But I was literally I was stuck in my suffering, effectively. I was stuck there. Do you know what I mean? I thought there was no way out. But when you start to awaken, you start to feel a way out. And you know, while you're prior to awakening, you're literally stuck there, but you don't have the energy or motivation to get out. And you don't really see the point because you think that's all there is. That's all there is to life. But when you're in the awakening period, you know, you start to see that healing is for a reason. The healing is not just to have a more fulfilling life, to feel good within yourself, to find self-love, to have healthier relationships, to have healthier work dynamics, to effectively find why you're on this planet. It's also for the next person. Like, remember what you went through in childhood. Look back at that. You know what I mean? You as a child suffered. Can you imagine any child going through that, yourself included? It's disgusting. It's horrible. You know, it's heartbreaking. Do you know what I mean? And can you imagine if you don't do your healing, you're actually leaving a window open for the next child to suffer. And I think that's the one thing that really pushes me forward. You know, I don't have children yet, but when I do, or, you know, it's not even, you know, it's an energetic thing anyway. But if I can prevent my future children from suffering the way I did. And it's funny because prior to healing, when I did suffer from anxiety and depression, I didn't want kids. I was allergic. I was like, no, I can't have children. And it was obviously an unconscious thing because I was abandoned as a child and, you know, all that kind of stuff. I just didn't want to repeat what my parents did. And that's it. I used to say, I'm not bringing in a child into this world to suffer as I did. But this is where you flip the switch. You can heal your shit and say, I can now bring a child into this world because I won't let them suffer like I did. This is the choice that we have. You know, you actually have a choice right now to do this for the next generation. And even if you don't ever have your own physical children, you're doing it for humanity. Because when we're healing, it's an energetic thing. So like one person heals, and that will energetically heal a number of people as well. I don't know the exact maths. But you're collectively healing the consciousness of humanity. So even if you don't have your own children going forward, you will be helping the future of the generations to come, and that's a fact. Like, this is the thing with generation trauma, and we're not just like we're so, like, if you look at your life, and for me, for example, I literally lived my dad's life and I lived my mother's life. I lived her life, which was a feeling of unworthiness, feeling of lack, not enough, whatever she went through, and being treated like shit by narcissistic men, being abused. I lived her life. And then I lived my dad's life, which was insecure again, but suffered from alcoholism. I went down the drinking route as well. So I lived both sides of it. So I'm not just healing my mother's side, I'm healing my dad's side as well. And a lot of us have to do that. But can you imagine what they suffered? You suffered as well. We suffered as well. But they suffered as well. Their parents suffered as well. Like, this is not random behavior. We're not only do we learn the behavior of our parents or our environment, we also inherit it. So we're actually adopting the ways of the past. So our parents did what their parents did, and so on and so on and so on. So we effectively did that as well. But we have a choice to break that. Like, you know, there's that wound that was in me lately, is that self-disgust wound, thinking I was my lineage, or I was my upbringing, I was my environment, I was what I went through. But no, I'm not. I'm who I choose to become, or who I'm supposed to become. And that's what we're here for. We're here to change things for ourselves first, and stop identifying with our past. Break the cycle, break the generational curse, break the generational cycle. This is what we're doing. We're stopping it from moving forward. And we're so blessed. Like, you know, I know it's difficult. I know it's hard. But we have so many opportunities in front of us to help heal ourselves. Your phone is a device, not for social media scrolling, but to learn how to heal yourself. There's knowledge there. But there's means to heal yourself for free, or if you want to get a paid coach or a mentor or, you know, a therapist or whatever. You literally have the world of knowledge at your fingertips. You don't need to go through the golden pages to look for a number, or feel embarrassed to leave your house to go to a therapist. And then you shouldn't be embarrassed anyway, but that's the way the stigma was. You can actually meet a therapist online, meet a coach online. You know what I mean? You can heal from the safety of your own home, because we've such big fears of healing. Like, you know, leaving the house to go to see a therapist, it's a scary thing, but you can actually do it from your phone, from your computer. You know, we have the opportunity to heal. It's the choice whether we want to or not. And that's it. When I was suffering from depression and anxiety prior to waking up out of my conditioning, I was in this energy of, this is how life is. Life is here to suffer. You're not able to heal. This is it. You can't change. But when I started to acknowledge the fact that you can change, and you can change who you are, because this is it. You have this identity, and this identity is shrouded in shame, and that comes from your generations, your lineage, your ancestors. This energy of shame. Do you know what I mean? You're ashamed of your past. You're ashamed of your upbringing. You're ashamed of your parents, effectively. But it's obviously not their fault either. But, like, you know, there's this energy of, this is who I am. I'm disgusting. I'm shameful. I'm not good enough to be anything. You know, and this is the thing, like, we ask ourselves, who am I to change anything? just by healing yourself, you're changing the world. You know what I mean? You know, because when you get to the stage of, I suppose, climbing the ladder or climbing that mountain to get to a stage where you're I won't say fully healed because we're all fucking still healing. When you get to a stage where you're healed enough, you get to share that with the next person. And that's what I've done with my coaching, or what I do with my coaching is literally I share my story with the next person. I help the next person, you know, to navigate their journey a little bit easier, to show them that it's possible. And that's what we do. We end up guiding, and this is the whole objective of our purpose as well. Our purpose is to serve, not to be a slave. There's a difference. Not to fucking to be a slave to society and to literally lose ourselves to society. What I mean is our purpose is to help others. We're not here just to help ourselves. Like there is such a bonus from healing because you end up feeling so much better. You know what I mean? I was in this suffering bubble for my whole life. I drank alcohol, I took drugs, I smoked cigarettes, and you know what I mean? I was so unhealthy. And I literally was wasting my life and wasting my body and wasting my health. Whereas now I'm healthier, I'm happier. I don't need an escape through substances anymore. You know what I mean? That to me is one of the biggest miracles of life, is to get to it, well, especially if you've grown up with addictions or any kind of things like that, either witnessing it or going through it yourself. It's hard to shake that. It's hard to identify as a non-smoker or non-drinker when you lived that life. But to actually transform yourself completely out of that. I'm still healing. Every week I'm healing. Every day I'm healing. You know what I mean? I could be crying at the weekend and then happy during the week. It depends on what cycle I'm in. But yet I don't need to drink or take drugs anymore because I'm happy. Even though I'm healing consistently, I'm so happy. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm so much better than I ever was. And I know I'm doing it for the greater good. I'm doing it for the greater good. And that's just, that's enlightening in itself. You're changing the world, not just for yourself, but for the next person. You know, and as I said, it's, you know, even if you don't have your own physical children or if they're future children, whatever they are, you're doing it for them, but you're doing it for the next person who can do it for their kids, their lineage. Do you know what I mean? You know, and this is the thing, like you might keep asking yourselves, who am I to help anyone? If you share your story with one person and that one person has the courage to help themselves, and then that one person helps themselves and has the courage to help one more, that's like that butterfly effect or domino effect, is it? Like literally, you help one person, they help the next. They help the next. If that keeps going, you can help millions of fucking people. But imagine if you help 10, and those 10 help 10, and those 10 help 10. Can you see what I mean? You know what I mean? So don't downplay it, or don't downplay yourself and say, I can't do this, or I can't help anyone. You're helping one person right now. You know, by sharing your story, by healing yourself, by showing that it can be done. And this is what's so important. You know what I mean? I have done this before. We literally treat ourselves like shit, but don't treat other people. We treat other people with compassion and empathy. See yourself as that other person. Treat yourself with that respect. Treat yourself as you would treat someone else. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and that's why we might get lazy on our journey. We might not heal for ourselves because we're like, we're not worth it. I'm not worthy. But when you actually, part of this healing is to learn that you are worthy and to know that you're doing it for you. But if you find it hard to find the motivation or the courage to heal for yourself, think of the person you're going to help. If you do the work, you can help others. If you do the work, you break a generational cycle. You suffered, your parents suffered, and so on and so on and so on. And I know it's a big feat. Like, this is why it's never ending. Oh, it's not never ending. It'll end at some stage. But this is why we're healing in so many layers. This is why we're healing this, you know, childhood trauma, past relationship trauma, past life trauma. But we're healing the trauma of our parents and ancestors as well. So it is a tough one, but you were chosen for this because you have the capability of doing it. You have the strength to do it. You weren't chosen for this out of punishment. You know what I mean? You were chosen because of your capabilities, because of your power. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, this isn't for the light of heart. You know what I mean? We think that we're weak, or we think that we're being punished because of all the stuff we go through. We're actually being motivated, really, because of our power and our strength. We were chosen because of our shine, because of our uniqueness. So use that, because like we weren't given, like you're not given, like for example, if you climb a ladder in a business, you're not given more responsibilities because you're shit at your job. You're given more responsibilities because you're good at your job. So we're given more healing because we're good at it. Because we've always known what to do. Our soul knows what to do. So this is it. Be proud that you're effectively, it's a privilege to heal this way. Be proud of who you are because of it and your strength to do this. But remember, you're doing it for the next person. You're doing it for the next generation, and you're doing it for the future of humanity. I know it sounds like a lot, but you know what I mean? Wouldn't you rather do it than see another person suffer? And that's what really drives me. Is I hate to see anyone going through the things that I went through. You know what I mean? And if I can prevent even one person from suffering the way I did, I will keep climbing that mountain. Even if there is no fucking peak. I'll keep going, blood, sweat and tears. And I will keep going and going and going. And throw that rope down for the next person. I will keep doing it, I'll keep doing it, I'll keep doing it. Because if I can prevent one person from suffering, that would be worth it. So use that as your motivation and use that as your drive to continue on your healing path. So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you'd like help on your journey, please book me for a free discovery call today. And I would love nothing more than to help in your path. Also, I have another channel called Aligning with Angie, where I share guided meditation every week. The info for that is in the description box. And I'm also hosting a free feminine empowerment workshop on Wednesday, the 8th of April at 6 p.m. around UK time. It's for us ladies to get together, heal, grow, and share. It's just a safe space for us to literally navigate this journey together. This month it'll be self-discipline equals self-respect. So part of our healing process as well. So if you want information for that, please comment below.